this is what my focus is on. It's just enjoying it. I'm not even thinking about the result, to be honest. I'm not even thinking about how I'm going to finish the fight or if it's going to go the distance. I couldn't give a shit. I'm just going to go in there and have the time of my life, man. This is my dream, and I'm going to enjoy it.
Yeah, it's one of those things, right? Like, you feel if you do just the right things, the results will kind of produce themselves.
If I go in there and do me and have fun, I can beat anybody in the world. I know I can. If I go in there and overthink it and try and work to a strategy and do everything perfect, I can lose. So I'm going to go in there and just have the time of my life and enjoy this thing.
It seems like you don't want to think much beyond Saturday night, but if you do get this win in the way that you want it, there's no going backwards, right? Yep. Like, you feel like this puts you on that track, and there's only extremely big things ahead.
Definitely. But obviously I feel like I'm ready for that. So here we are. We're moving forward. We're moving up in the world, hopefully.
All right, appreciate it, Tom. Thank you.
Thank you.
Tom,
hello.
How you doing, man? I'm just wondering, what's it been like preparing for an opponent that, for a while it didn't seem like we didn't know if he was going to make the fight. Obviously he has now. But was that difficult with so many questions being raised about whether he'd be able to get over here to compete?
It was difficult, to be honest. But in them situations, you've got two options, really. You can either completely lose your shit or just try and focus on yourself. Obviously, I was trying to just focus on myself. But there was a couple of days I nearly lost my shit, I'll be honest. But both of those options don't really change anything. Like, if he can come or not come, it doesn't really change if I lose my shit or not. So I was just trying to just focus on myself, and yeah, there's not a lot that I can personally do, so I was just trying to focus on what I can control.
You said you were over at Rico Verhoeven, and I know Ngannou was training in the Delta or whatever. He was saying that, people think, this Rico Verhoeven can't match this guy, so it's a bad opponent. He said he actually brought him in to show the flaws in Ngannou's game, to see the COE picking apart. Is that a similar reason where you went over? A guy who's a master at that kind of striking down, was that kind of different for you?
I went over because I've known his coach for a long time. James is a really, really good guy, and it's not like an open door policy there, do you know what I mean? Like, you can only really go if you kind of invite over. So I was invited to go over, and I went over there, and I just went there because I just don't think there's anyone. Obviously the big guy making heavy, it doesn't mean that he's just going to strike with me. He might try and take me down, but I wanted that exposure to the highest of the high level, because there's only one way you can go around them guys, and well, they will beat you up, but after, hopefully you'll improve a little bit. So yeah, really enjoyed it, and I'll definitely be going back.
What will this mean to your dad? Like, I mean, this is the guy who got you into martial arts. You're walking out for a main event in UFC London. I mean, it must be an incredibly proud moment for your family.
I would imagine so, but do you know what? I'm just trying to not focus on any of that stuff, because if you think about that, like, I'm trying to fight Volkov, and that's it. Like, all this exterior stuff, if you start taking that into consideration, mate, there's too much pressure on you. So my only focus is just enjoying myself and going in there and having the time of my life, and that's it. I'm sure it means a lot to my dad, definitely. It means a lot to me, it means a lot to a lot of the people around me, but if I take that with me, there's too much pressure, so I'm just thinking about enjoying it, and that's it.
Nice one, Tom. Cheers.
Tom at the back over here. Just curious, I mean, when this call came, or when this event was originally announced, we heard that you were going to be fighting Abdurakhimov initially, and then obviously the promotion to the main event. I'm just wondering what your reaction to that upgrade was initially, and if you felt the added pressure at all.
Yeah, mate, I didn't sleep for about 2 weeks when I found out, I'm not going to lie. Yeah, Volkov's a massive fight. Every fight in the UFC is massive. So I'm not going to lie, so it's not every fight in the UFC is massive. But someone like Volkov, that I personally have been watching since he was Bellator champion, like, it's massive for me. It's massive. Yeah, just with that kind of name, what he brings to the table, the experience that he's got, I'm aware of what a big fight it is. So yeah, I'm definitely not taking him over, that's for sure. I'm treating him exactly how I should be treating him, which is very, very serious.
We saw Chris Daukaus and Aiku Nasa. You kind of feel yourself the crest of this new wave of heavyweight coming out in the division?
Definitely. I mean, we're all like young, up-and-coming guys at this point. Big fan of both guys. I think both guys are very skilled. Obviously, Chris took a bad end in his last fight, but it doesn't. This is heavyweight MMA, you know what I mean? Like, that happens sometimes. Ty has also been up and down in his career, and now he's on a good run, so yeah, those guys are definitely, like, we're all going to fight each other. We're all going to fight each other once, twice, with our trilogies possibly. Like, me and Ty are late 20s, I'm not sure exactly how old Chris is, but ahead of me and Chris right now is doing good things, man, and good luck to Ty.
Thank you.
Well, I'm just in front of you here. Obviously, we spoke about Ty and just Chris right there. Do you feel like you bring a more diverse skill set than those two guys you mentioned?
I don't know, because speaking from my own experience, there's like a lot of these heavyweights and people who watch this sport and stuff, they think that I'm just good at certain things. And it's not that I'm just good at certain things, I've just not had the opportunity to show what I am good at, because I've been in the octagon for such a small amount of time with my fights. So just because they've not shown a full skill set doesn't mean they've not got a full skill set. Do you know what I mean? Look at Francis Ngannou in his last fight. He wrestled the whole time. Just because he's not shown his wrestling doesn't mean that he can't wrestle. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff that those fighters have got that we don't really have opportunity to show yet. It doesn't mean that we've not got it. So I'm sure those guys are really well rounded, just because, like me, I ain't had the opportunity to show basically no wrestling, no grappling, no cardio, no kicks. Like, I've not done any of this stuff. Just because I've not had the chance to, it doesn't mean that I've not got it. I'm actually very good at this stuff, and I will show it over the next 10 years. But right now, I've not had the opportunity, and neither of them guys. So I'm sure they are well rounded and stuff, but they've just not had the chance to show it yet.
And obviously, you know, with Volkov not being able to come over for a while, it seemed like his main event was a bit in jeopardy. Did the UFC ever offer you anyone else and say, like, we have someone as a backup plan?
Yeah, and the backup plan is here, but I'm not sure I'm allowed to say. So when you asked before, yeah, there's still a backup in place who is here. So I still think that, I don't know, just in case probably anything changes last minute, he's already here, ready to go. So yeah, like I say, I'm not sure I'm allowed to say who that is at this point.
And just one more from me. Obviously, you mentioned going over there to Holland to train. Someone that we know very well has, you know, gone to Sweden recently, is Darren Till. Just kind of what your thoughts on him going and linking up with Hamza is, and if you think that'll bring a lot of difference to his game.
I think it's a great move for him. I think it's great. Having another guy like that who's around his size and obviously at extremely high level in parts of his game that he's maybe weak at. You know what though? Till is actually a great wrestler. He's just had a bad time in his last fight. I don't want to put words in his mouth. That's his prerogative to tell everybody or not tell everybody what's been going on. But yeah, I think it's great just to get a fresh look on things and different eyes around and feel different energy in the gym and stuff. Yeah, I think it's a good move for him, and I'm sure he'll come back and start working again and be good going forward.
Into this one, and if so, are you able to share that with us?
Yeah, of course. I spoke to Till, spoke to Bisping, spoke to a couple more guys who have main evented in the past, and everybody seems to like have a similar or the same kind of answer, and it's just like, just treat it like any other fight. Do you know what I mean? Don't build it up too much, because building up fights is like your guys' job. Do you know what I mean? Like, we shouldn't build it up too much in our head. Like, I'm the worst guy for it. Like, I see Volkov, he's had a million fights, I've been watching him for years, and you build him up to be this like boogeyman in your mind, and I ain't doing that shit anymore. You know what I mean? Like, I used to do that before I was in the UFC, and then I got to the UFC and I used to think, oh, all these guys are so they're not, mate. They're another guy in front of you having another fight with a pair of gloves on, and I'm going to treat it that way. Don't get me wrong, I took Volkov more serious than I took anybody else, but at the end of the day, he's another guy stood across from me with a pair of gloves on, and if I punch him, he will go down, same as anybody else.
So obviously you're the main event, Tom, but I wanted to know, is there a particular fight on the card that you're looking forward to?
Of course, I'm going to say Arnold Allen and Dan Hooker. Come on! What a fight that is!
It's an absolutely amazing fight. And someone else on the card, Mohamed Mokaev.
Yes.
I just wanted to ask you something, because recently he said he showed a lot of love to your dad, and he said that he taught him jiu-jitsu. So I just wanted to get your thoughts on how you think his career will go in the UFC.
I've known Mohamed since he was 12 years old or something like that. He's been training with my dad for a long time. He doesn't actually train with him no more, but he got him into jiu-jitsu, my dad, I think, and yeah, he showed him the basics and took him around competitions and did all the rest of the stuff. Mohamed's a great competitor. Like, he's a young, hungry guy, and he's got a lot of confidence, and I think he's got a massive future in the sport.
And I know you're only looking forward at Volkov and you don't want to look past him, but let's say you get that win. I know a certain Cyril Gane is here this week. So how do you think that France versus England matchup may be next?
First of all, let me start by saying Cyril Gane is a very handsome man. just starting off with that. Great fighter, man. Great fighter as well. But first and foremost, handsome. Let me just add that, just for the record. Yeah, I think it's a great fight down the line. Right now, he's way above me, way beyond me. Like I'm outside the top 10, I believe, at the moment, or maybe just touching the top 10. So he's way beyond me. But it's definitely a fight that's going to happen in the future. Like I say, those guys, me, Chris Dawkins, Taito Ivasa, even like Spivak, who I've already fought, who's coming up. Who else have I missed off? Curtis Blades. People like that. We are all. Have I missed any? I don't want to miss anyone off. Who else have I missed off?
Arlovsky.
Arlovsky's 500 years old. But yeah, no disrespect to Andre, by the way. He is old though. But yeah, we're all going to fight each other eventually anyway, so it's going to happen in the future.
And just finally, Tom, I just want to say good luck on Saturday,
Thank you.
and I really hope you're looking
Thank
forward
you.
to your chips and gravy after your fight.
Thanks.
Tom, just at the back here. Volkov, he's had a lot of octagon time. We haven't seen you go past the second round. Are you approaching this fight any differently to your previous?
I mean, I've trained for 5 rounds. Like you say, I've never gone past the second, so new territory for me. I'm completely aware. If you look at the fact, like if you look at the stats on paper, this is a complete mismatch in his favour. I'm aware of that. Like he has got so much more experience than me. He's fought far more high-level guys than me. He's been in the top 10 for I don't know how many years at this point. I'm just, an up-and-coming guy breaking the top 10 on paper. But on paper doesn't really mean nothing when it comes to actual fighting.
Do you see this as a test? And you said you wanted to be able to showcase more of your skills. So do you look at it that way?
Yeah, big test of my career, by far. I'm completely aware of that. And yeah, I mean, I would like to keep myself a secret for as long as possible. Do you know what I mean? I would like these heavyweights think they know stuff about me. They don't know shit about me. They don't know nothing about me. Like they've seen this much of my game. So anybody out there who thinks they know what my game is, they don't know nothing. So yeah, if I can finish him in 30 seconds, like I will do, but I would also like to do 5. I'm not really bothered either way.
And do you feel like you need to put on a statement when, here the UFC's first return to London since COVID? Does that put pressure on you? Do you see that as an opportunity for you to make a statement?
I feel like I need to go out there on Saturday night and enjoy this thing. That's it. I'm not bothered about putting a statement on. Not bothered about knocking anyone out. Not bothered about doing an exciting fight. Not bothered about any of that stuff. What I'm bothered about is living my dream Saturday night, and that's it.
Tom, over here. Sorry, mate. Hiding behind. When your opponent was confirmed, and then obviously you've seen, like everyone else, what's gone on in Ukraine and Russia, did you have many doubts that this fight would actually take place?
Yeah, I did. But again, on all Russians and Belarusians, I believe, from fighting in the UK, like I was like, oh shit, here we go. But luckily, so far so good. So we're all good.
And how's that affected your preparations with maybe a little bit of doubt that your opponent might change?
It's not really. I just gotta, as I said before, just gotta control what I can control, and that is myself. So I've just kept training as normal, focused on myself, and just moved forward from that.
And have you been in regular contact with Dana White about the potential fight being moved at one stage? We spoke to him yesterday, and he said he was always looking at other options and alternatives if they couldn't get the fight on here in London.
I have never met Dana White. Never spoke to Dana White in my life. I ain't joking. I know a few people are laughing at it. I'm not joking. Never met the guy, never spoke to him, so I've had 0 contact with him.
Okay, and finally from me, obviously Volkov is a rather tall guy. I saw that you previously have fought and sparred with Tyson Fury. How was that experience? Is that experience going to help you at all?
In terms of what, sparring a tall guy? Well, I think Tyson Fury's helped me the most mentally. Obviously, I improved a lot. My skill set improved, my boxing improved, definitely. Like, it brought me a long way, skill-wise. But more so mentally, like he has it. If Tyson Fury ever gets a watch of this, thank you. Like, I've never actually had that chance to thank him for it. Like, he has completely changed my career and the outlook of what I've got on combat and at fighting. Like, without him, I wouldn't be where I am right now, because my mentality has changed completely since I trained with him. It was quite a long time ago now. Like, I was in my early 20s. I wasn't sure if I wanted to carry on with this sport or box or maybe stop fighting altogether. I didn't know what I wanted to do, and yeah, he just completely changed my whole outlook on everything. So I appreciate it.
Thanks, mate.
So,
Hello.
all right.
you're very open about your own insecurities and stuff, talking about like not sleeping for a couple of weeks when it's bumped up to the main event and stuff like that. This is a sport that historically fighters would mask that kind of thing. Do you think it's mentally beneficial to be so open and not hide your emotions?
That's what I feel like. Yeah, I feel like if you talk about your emotions, you kind of let go of them a little bit. That's how I feel, and I have no problem. Like I ain't got nothing to hide. If you're gonna come over to me on fight day and say, "How you feeling, Tom?" I'm gonna say, "I'm nervous." I ain't gonna say, "Oh yeah, I'm feeling amazing. I'm gonna smash him up." Like all this other shit that people say. Like if you're gonna ask me an honest question, I'm gonna give you an honest answer, and that's just.
Brilliant. I'll just stick with one question, and I'm the newbie, so I'm not going to go crazy on it.
Okay.
Hey Tom, over here. You've spoken about how you're going to be at your best when you are loose and having fun in there. Are you going to be able to do that and kind of drink in what is an incredible thing, headlining in your own country?
Hopefully, but we don't know. I'm thinking positive about this whole thing. Obviously, do I know? No, I don't know. I've never done it before. Like I say, it's like asking a woman, all that other shit that I just said. I'm not gonna say it again. But yeah, I have no idea. I'm thinking positive. I'm thinking it won't affect me. But do I know? I don't know. Good. Oh yeah.
Romantic. I mean, I'm sure he sent me the email saying meet me at 3. I should have borrowed your roses.
I have no idea how that happened. Always the best.
What's that?
If he wants to number, by all means.
Hey Nathaniel, right here in front of you. To be back here on a card like this, I know last time you fought in London, it was a pretty sensational performance. So to be back here again, what does that mean to you?
Being back here, and obviously after about a year and 6 months layoff, is dream come true. Honestly, obviously the first fight that I'd done in 2019 in London was electrifying. It was amazing. It was probably the best experience I've ever had in my life. So to have already done that, now coming into this, I know exactly what to expect. I'm buzzing. I live 40 minutes from here, so I've got my home comforts. There couldn't be a better card for me to be on than this one today.
Are you staying here all week, or are you staying at home?
No, I'm staying at home. I'm booked in. I've got a hotel. I've got the hotel room booked in. Sorry, and I will be staying here the weight cut day, the weigh-in day, etc. But at the moment, I'm home. I'm looking after my dog. He's hard work, so I've got to go back, look after him, enjoy my home comforts, and sleep in my own bed. So for me, it's luxury.
So weigh-in day, will you wake up fight day at home?
I'll wake up fight day at home, yes, which I always prefer. You know, I like to come in, I like to, sounds a bit cheesy, but give my missus a little kiss, you know, go and prepare for war. So, yeah, you know, that's what works for me.
Does it take a different kind of like mental approach to do that? Because like, do you look at it like, oh, I'm just going, you know, waking up, doing my routine, and going to like a day of training, or do you make it bigger than that in your mind?
Yeah, for me, as I say, in my head, I kind of look at it as I'm going to war. You know, I say goodbye to my missus, my mum, my family. I'm like, right, you know, I'm going to get on the train. I'm going to war. I'll be back after. And I have to kind of get into that mindset. You know, I'm one of these fighters where you'll see Brad Pickett slap me before I go in the cage. I need to be angry and I need to, you know, feel like I'm going into a war or a battle. So that's what I like to do. And being at home. Unfortunately, after my last fight, in the fight, I sustained an injury. It put me out for about 6 months on my right hand. Then I was back in training, had a fight booked up, and a month out, broke another bone in that hand. So it was a completely different injury, but that put me out again for about another 6 months. So yeah, unfortunately, it's been a bit of a long layoff, but we're here now. That's the main thing. The hand's good. You know, I've been flying through training, so you know, Saturday Ignite, expect fireworks.
Yeah, so to have to deal with something like that, which I'm sure you haven't gone through before, what kind of growth did that allow you, you know, mentally speaking, in terms of, you know, having to overcome that and just deal with the time off?
Having the time off, if anything's made me a better fighter, I feel. One, mentally, you know, it's really made me appreciate just training, you know, having my body working how it should be and having every weapon that I possibly can have in training. It's, you know, it's given me a little bit of an extra boost, let's say, and it's given me time to work areas where I wouldn't normally work. So, you know, the first 6 months I was working elbows every day. Now I feel like my elbows have come up leaps and bounds since my last fight. I feel like my kicks have come on leaps and bounds. You know, I was still able to do cardio, etc. All I couldn't do really was punch with the right hand. So, yeah, and as I say, the power's still there now. So I've got my right hand back, and I've now got a load of new weapons in my arsenal that I didn't have before.
And you, to start the UFC run, it was such a nice streak, and then the past few, you know, it's been a couple mixed results. Do you feel any particular pressure to, you know, get an emphatic win, or just the win here? What does this kind of, the significance of this fight mean to you?
Of course, the fight's really important. You know, I've been out for such a long time now, and with my last fight being a loss, however, I don't feel I lost that fight. You know, I believe that I'm 5-1 in the UFC. You know, I'm down as 4-2, but you know, I don't see that last fight. I don't see how I lost that. But you know, don't leave it to the judges. They always say. So yeah, you know, this Saturday I look to you know, finish the fight, finish it early, and yeah, you know, let the UFC know that I'm here to stay, and that, you know, I'm where I belong.
Nathaniel, just at the back here. You know, you spoke about your loss to Casey Kenny. You got a bonus from that fight. You know, how do you assess your performance when you look back at that?
So I'm happy with my performance to an extent. You know, and I let it go to the judges. You know, in the last round of that fight, if anything, I actually, in my head, was playing it a little bit safe because I thought I won. And you know, I've learned from that lesson now. You don't leave it to the judges. And that fight I took on 3 weeks' notice. So I was happy with my performance. I was happy that obviously I got the bonus. You know, that always softens the blow a little bit. But you know, lesson learned. Don't leave it to the judges, and you know, finish the fights.
Yeah, and you've obviously had a change of opponent going into this one, but you know, Vince actually called you out after his last fight. What did you think of that call out when you heard?
I only actually saw it when I got announced that I was fighting Vince 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago. Don't know why he wants to fight me. He's lost the fight via leg kicks before, and I think I hold the record for most leg kicks thrown. So, yeah, don't know, maybe he wants a bit of the fight of the night bonus.
Do you think it's a mistake on his part?
For sure, definitely, and he's taking it on 2-3 weeks' notice. So, if anything, I feel a little bit offended.
Thank you.
Nathaniel, I'm just wondering, you have often been the headline act in London cards for years with Cage Warriors. You were the big ticket seller, lots of people coming out to see you. Are you used to the pressure of competing in front of your hometown crowd, maybe more so than the other UK fighters on this card?
I would say there's a little added pressure for me when I'm fighting in my hometown. but I prefer that. You know, pressure makes diamonds, and I'm one of these fighters where the more pressure I have, the better I perform. You know, believe me when I say that. You know, this is going to be the best Nathaniel Wood you've seen on Saturday night.
Tom seems a bit daunted by the whole idea of it. Like, you know, he's saying to us he doesn't know what it's going to be like, which is true. But what advice would you give to Tom, who's headlining this card?
Enjoy it. It's a feeling like no other. So, yes, I guess like queuing up for a roller coaster, you know, there's them nerves and jitters, but mate, it's an amazing feeling, and I don't think I could actually describe it to anyone unless you've done it.
Correct me if I'm wrong, is this the first time that GB top team have had a permanent home while you're fighting in the UFC, and how much of a significant change has that made to your camp?
Yes, it is. It's the first actual camp where I've actually had a hub, let's say. You know, for the whole 12 years of my fighting career, I've never had one home with everything under one roof with all of my coaches there. I had to travel an hour and a half to the gym that I was at previously, an hour and a half back, so 3 hours of my life spent traveling. Now I have a state-of-the-art facility 10 minutes around the corner with all of my coaches there. So that's definitely for me a missing puzzle piece that I feel I needed to take me that next level. And I've got that now. So, you know, it's been, as I say, almost luxury. I kind of feel spoiled now. You know, we've got heating in the gym. Didn't normally have that. Come summer, we got aircon in the gym. So, yeah, you know, GB top team, it's been a blessing.
How difficult is it to find someone to look after your dog when you're going to do these things, because he seems quite a terror?
It's virtually impossible. So yeah, you know, me being at home has helped. My fiance has been at home for the last 2 years working because of COVID, and they put her back in the office 3 weeks ago. So if there was ever a time where I said they could have just waited, they could have waited out a little bit. But he keeps me busy. He keeps my mind off things, and yeah, I love him to bits. So you know, he's a blessing for me.
Thanks, mate. Cheers.
Nathaniel down here. Obviously, you've had the long layoff, 18 months. How active are you hoping to be this year?
As active as I can be, you know, touch wood, no injuries, you know, I just want to get as many fights in as I can. Good fights, good wins, you know, I don't want to overdo it to the point where, you know, people are looking at me thinking, you know, you're looking a bit overtrained, mate, or that sort of thing. But, you know, I want to be active. My bank balance wants me to be active as well. So, yeah, you know, after the Saturday night, I'll obviously speak to the UFC, find out when they've next got a card lined up that they want me on, and, you know, try and be in there as much as possible.
And we saw on Instagram the roadmaps that you have all over your body. Talk about the diet to get into that condition, because this is the best condition that we've ever seen you in.
It's tough. It really is. You know, the fight, diet down for 10 weeks, 8 weeks, you know, then I have to cut weight in the sauna, and, you know, I'm in great physical shape. I took that picture or video after a sauna 20 minutes out with good lighting, and all of a sudden everyone thinks that I'm on either steroids or I'm really struggling. You know, it's just good lighting and good genes, guys. So I appreciate that for the guys that think I am taking steroids, but no, I'm just naturally gifted.
And obviously you had back-to-back injuries to the hands. Psychologically, how's it been, like, throwing that in camp, and will there be any reservations on fight night? Because I know some fighters do have that after suffering such an injury.
No, so far the hand's been great, and this is, I think, been the first fight where I've had about 14 weeks notice for. So we made sure that, you know, the beginning of camp, etc., we didn't overdo it. We really took our time with getting it back to 100%, and, you know, as I say, it's been 100% since. So fingers crossed it stays up in the fight, and I'm looking to get a knockout with it.
Cheers, mate.
Hey Nathaniel, how are you, bro?
Good, mate. You?
I'm doing good, thanks. So firstly, I just wanted to say, obviously, 2 weeks notice Vince has taken this fight.
Mhm.
Normally when someone pulls out quite late notice, it can be frustrating for someone because they've kind of tailored their game plan for that opponent. But since it's Vince who stepped up, do you think that stylistically, actually, you prefer this, and now you can fight your game and you can put on a better performance in front of those fans?
Yeah, 100%. I think Vince is a better fighter in the sense where he's had 6 UFC fights, 3 and 3. He's on a 2-win streak. Stylistically, he's better for me. You know, he's more of a striker. He likes to bang. You know, and for me, that's more fun. That's more exciting, and that's more suited to my game plan. You know, Liudvik, as confident as I am in the grappling exchanges, I think it was going to be you know, let's try and defend takedown, and, you know, even though I was fully confident I was going to get the win, I kind of had in my mind, it might not be fight of the night, it might be a little bit boring, whatever. You know, I'm pleased that he's taken it on a couple of weeks' notice.
When I came to see you a few weeks ago, we spoke a little bit about the weight cut and how difficult it can be cutting the calories and stuff. But you did say like one of the only things that you can have is chewing gum. So I got you a packet. If you want me to throw it to you,
Appreciate it.
or
Yeah,
you can pick
send
it
it
up.
off here. Send it off here.
Can catch.
Go. Like that. Look at those reactions.
Good luck, Nathaniel.
Thank you.
Nathaniel at the back here. When this fight was initially announced, it was actually Ludwig who was in there, and obviously for reasons he can't make it. Did you have an inkling that someone was going to fall out? Did you kind of have that in mind when you were preparing?
So, whenever I fight, I always in the back of my head think, you know, opponents can change at any time. That's why I never really plan my whole camp around one opponent. Obviously, when what's happening now in Ukraine just started to happen, I actually sent Ludwig a message and said, hey mate, you know, I hope my thoughts and prayers are with you. I hope you're okay, and I hope things, you know, this hopefully won't affect our bout that we've got lined up. He replied with a nice message just saying thank you mate, but you know, at the moment all I can think about is family, etc. And it was the next day that it really sort of kicked off. So, you know, once that happened, I knew that he was obviously, you know, going to have to pull from the fight where, you know, too right. You know, I've got nothing but thoughts and prayers for the people of Ukraine right now and Ludwig himself. So, you know, I wish him all the best. And yeah, I'm just, you know, lucky to still be able to compete on this card. And, you know, thanks to Vince Morales for taking this fight. You know, it's not easy taking a fight on short notice, and especially in someone's hometown. So, you know, I'm pleased that he did take the fight.
Thank you.
Nathaniel, you're the only Londoner on this card. Do you think it means a little more to you than the other British fighters? And how do you expect to feel when the announcer says fighting out of London, England, and the crowd goes nuts?
For me, it's a good feeling. I think I might be the only London UFC fighter. So, you know, I feel like that's a little extra motivation to represent. Obviously, my original dream was to become the first UK champ. Bisping obviously stole that from me, but I can still be the first London champ. So that's on the cards. You know, I want to be the first UFC champion to bring a belt back to London.
Brilliant. Thanks, mate.
Cool. Everyone? Yeah? Sweet. Thank you, guys. Thank you for tuning in. See you later.
I'll pay you more to come to the hotel.
It's on 5. I mean, level. Should be it's the same. Still be the same. I can't right here, but it's still something.
Yeah.
It's a little better.
Ei,
Kazula, obviously a big fight for you here. What does it feel like coming in and being kind of the enemy entering, Paddy Pimblett's territory here?
Es una pelea grande para ti. ¿Cómo te sientes ser el enemigo aquí en Londres?
Buenos días. Pues me siento realmente, sí es una pelea importante, pues las circunstancias nos han traído aquí, es la vida del peleador, el peleador pelea donde tenga que pelear y al final de cuentas, pues mi objetivo principal es mostrarle al mundo el estilo de pelea de un mexicano.
I feel good. A fighter has to fight wherever he has to fight, and I want to show what a Mexican fight is all about.
Do you feel like he's giving you the proper attention and respect? I mean, there's videos coming out of him getting into altercations with other fighters in the hotel. There's talk about their opponents. Do you feel like his attention and focus is on you?
¿Piensas que te está dando el respeto que te debe de dar? Hay vídeos de él peleando con otros peleadores aquí en el hotel.
Yo creo que realmente es una falta ética en sentido con la empresa. Realmente si me respeta o no me respeta no es algo que me preocupe. Yo me daré a respetar en su momento arriba del octágono, pero pues más bien yo creo que le puede jugar en contra esa desconcentración.
First of all, I think it's a ethic thing to disrespect the company, the UFC. And at the end, like him not concentrating on me might play against him. Si tú puedes conseguir la victoria, ¿qué va a hacer esto para tu carrera? Porque todos están hablando de Paddy.
Pues realmente consiguiendo esa victoria me voy a dar a conocer en la otra parte del mundo. Ya me conocen en América, ahora quería conocernos tal vez en Europa y en el Medio Oriente. Entonces creo que me puedo empezar a meter entre los grandes nombres, ¿no? Que al final de cuentas mi objetivo es escalar y llegar al top.
If I get this victory, it's just going to help me get known better in Europe. I'm already known in America, and it will probably take me to the top.
Thank you.
Rodrigo, Paddy is one of the most polarizing characters in the sport at the moment. A lot of people have a feeling about him one way or the other. How do you feel about the guy? Like, what is your opinion of Paddy Pimblett ahead of this fight?
¿Cuál es tu opinión de Paddy? Tiene mucha fama aquí, además en Londres. ¿Qué piensas de él?
Bueno, es lógico que tenga su fama en Londres. Toda su carrera la ha hecho en Londres, entonces ha creado fans, ¿no? Ha creado fans y bien por él, Creo que algunos de los comentarios que él hace son más del comportamiento de un niño que de un peleador profesional o de una persona que se dedica a esto, y eso es realmente lo que pienso. Hay cosas, tiene cosas buenas como todos, pero también tiene cosas que dices, what the fuck.
It's normal for him to have all this hype. He's from London, and most of his fights have been here. But I actually think he's a bit of a kid, and you know, he's got good things, but he's got a lot of bad things as well.
So you feel he's overrated as a fighter?
¿Piensas que todo lo que hablan de él que es verdad o a lo mejor no es tan bueno?
A lo mejor no es tan bueno.
It's probably overrated.
Just at the back here, just kind of going off of that. Have you watched his...
¿Viste qué piensas?
Sí, he visto, no todas las peleas de él, pero sí he visto alrededor de unas 5 o 6 peleas. Pues tiene bastantes huecos en los que podemos trabajar, tiene cosas buenas, ¿no? Todos los peleadores de UFC tenemos cosas buenas, por eso estamos donde estamos. Pero me enfoqué mucho en ver esos huecos y en canalizarlos.
I haven't seen all his fights, but I've seen about 5 or 6, and I think he's got a lot of holes in his fights, and we'll try and take advantage of that. But like all UFC fighters, we're here because, you know, we're the best, and we'll try and take advantage of those holes.
What do you think you can expect to see from him on Saturday?
¿Qué piensas que vas a ver de él en la pelea el sábado?
Yo creo que él va a querer salir a cumplir las expectativas que tiene la afición, la empresa y todo el mundo, ¿no? Yo creo que es lo que él quiere. Entonces esa presión, realmente la presión está en él, no en mí.
I think he would want to prove to the crowd and to the UFC all the hype about him. So for me, I think all the pressure's on him.
I'll just ask one question. Paddy's been speaking about how the way he thinks how this fight is going to go, about how he wants to finish it early and how he'll be upset if it goes late. How do you think the fight is going to finish?
Paddy está hablando de que quiere terminar la pelea rápido y que no salga del primero a lo mejor, pero ¿tú qué piensas cómo va a ir la pelea?
Paddy puede pensar lo que él quiera. Él tiene su plan, yo tengo mi plan. Al final de cuentas, vamos a imponer mi plan. Mi objetivo es imponerme sobre el de él, ¿no?
Paddy can say what he wants to say. He's got his plan, I've got mine, and let's see whose plan works.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks.
Is it possible to get like 10 dB? Oh, yeah. So our dial's right at the edge.
Everybody has to adjust it as well?
Yeah, I think everyone's right at the end there.
Okay.
Just like, even 5, just give it, because off the mic it's just a bit quiet.
Yes,
Early on the last day.
Yeah, no, but we just like permanently home down. Yeah, they changed their contract. Well, they changed the contract, so actually, yeah, it's got the max out in the conservatory out the back of the car. It's okay at the moment, but it's like eventually it probably needs to have an extra when it's an office kind of time.
Going from what it was just like 3 years ago when the hustle and bustle. Trying to make it
it took a while to get used to it, but it's like just type messages, hang out, and it just push the work back and forth. I mean, it's good that like basically you can log on 2 minutes before you start and you've got more of your day to yourself. And some David in charge now in staff. The Irish I don't think it's he's normally sat on our production bench.
Okay,
Probably about my age, about so he like lets me do what I want with the UFC basically. So pick and choose stuff from the show to get the stuff. Yeah, it's going okay. Yeah, they never say why you've done this.
So who else is actually there? Like signing up?
Production panel. The copy.
Because I remember there was
yeah.
To 0 and then 6 to 2.
Yeah, because I remember they implemented that well, they just started not too long before the pandemic started.
Yeah. It's basically the extension of that bit. It's like Cassie can do it from Newcastle to he ain't got to live like Nick's moved down to somewhere in Suffolk. He ain't got to come to London.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
camaraderie.
Oh, yeah.
I'd pay a certain amount of money for that. You know what I mean?
We've met up a couple of times just for drinks on Saturday and stuff, and then the company organised to play like Christmas. They organise do. Yeah, you can meet up now and again. Like Canary Wharf if you want. They shut down. I said you want to come back and pull your jaw out.
I was on mine, and I put the line on my
destroy it.
Yeah, so in between, so blow out with mic, it's live. Right. But it needs more level going on the box.
Yeah.
Again, like you have you've got to wind it up to like certain volume.
Yeah, mine's at, what is your volume?
10.
10? What is it, 5? That was crazy.
Test mic check 1 2 3 4 test.
They wouldn't listen to you.
Yeah, no, they literally wouldn't.
That's going to be interesting. Big old thing we can do right now. Yeah, that's going to be a nightmare.
Yeah, I wonder what the research actually is going to get.
because obviously people would have had hours to drink. I think the ones earlier, except people aren't even that was oh yes, 11 birthdays. Yeah.
Still can't get a lot of damage to those Nando's order. I mean, seriously, who gets the job? Anyway, that's a disgrace in the comments, and that's no useful confidence as far as you get. So later on, we'll be going up with Money McCann, and a few more other guys. So I hope you can see that.
Coffee and a water going, so you get out of bed.
Still can't get over chance.
Yeah, the way the date started off really nice. There was a boat trip after everything.
Anyway, that's in the
You see the blocks in there. Entertainment's been alright.
What are you asking today?
Still can't get over it. Still can't get over damage to Nando's order. I mean, seriously, who gets catch up at Nando's? Anyway, like I said, let us know in the comments what other response you get.
Sound.
Very elegant all over.
Good window there. Smells terrible, mate. Start doing yoga. Fatigue. Do you want a coffee? Plenty of tea. You can find one easily, mate. How easy. Yeah, the sports shop. We'd have to get going. Yeah, it's probably 12. It's an Uber, I think.
Take a second, guys. We'll just sit down just a little slow. Let's take a second. Okay, well, we can see before it goes out.
Oh, if there's no milk, just go out. Oh, sorry.
Mental breakdown. Remember what happened? Oh, you weren't on the first flight out.
I was not.
Shit was going on.
I heard, yeah. So what they did, they just mailed you stuff, didn't they, right?
No. Couldn't get mail.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah.
So like everything got stolen.
Yeah, so some from contact sent it to me.
Looks like they have like proper lunch being set up next to it.
Nice work.
That was pioneering, like if you either skipped a day of school or you
I live 2 blocks away from you. We'll take it for the drink in.
And can we go and watch the thing?
100%.
But you picked a basketball team as well as an NFL team.
Who's your NFL?
I felt like
Who's your NFL team? Who's your football team? Who's your football team?
Oh, Green Bay. Well, we're gonna have to pick a new team.
No. You obviously don't listen to the green room, do you?
It's a new lottery. If you want me,
Can you record this for a second?
you have to make a pick.
Like, you record me and PT for a second?
Yes, I can.
So, PT, have you watched the NFL draft before?
Oh my god.
Have you ever watched the NFL draft?
Oh my god.
Have you watched it?
Yes.
So in the NFL draft, and
Oh my god.
you're presenting rookies, so. PT Carroll,
Oh my god.
welcome.
I'm a cheesehead, baby.
You could be a fake fan, like a Bills fan, or like a Patriots fan, but
Oh my
PT
god.
Carroll.
What channel are you on?
Welcome to the Green Bay Packers fan. This is proper from Wisconsin.
Oh my
The
god.
new one really.
You can
Don't
jog
get
it.
too much
I'm sorry,
UFC.
Joe. It's not gonna be that
Like
way.
you can pretend.
It's not gonna be Buffalo, mate.
We've got the digital
It's
team
Green Bay.
who
You can be like
trying
an
to
umpty
push
and be a
UFC
Buffalo
as
Bills
much
fan,
as
or
they
you can be
can.
like a proper
You
cheesehead.
do
Like, wear that for life.
That's great season.
I do a bit of boxing, a lot of football. A lot of football.
Appreciate you, sir.
A lot of football.
Yes, thank you very much.
Yeah, it's so everything's very football. And boxing, cricket.
I ordered that from Lambo.
Yeah.
I didn't know what
Where
size
are you
it was.
from?
It's that large. The Green Bay Packers.
Oh, nice.
That means the world to like you.
I was like,
Do you work for yourself?
Julie, this is important.
Okay. You nick it. You stolen some of the seat.
Like they make it like right in the space and send it out. So it's like,
Oh my god. It's a little bit over.
Yeah.
welcome.
I wish I brought my weapon.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, I gotta get one myself. I gotta get one myself. I was texting Sheen.
Great. Yeah. Absolutely.
Texting Sheen about it.
It's good fun. It's different. You know. It's.
Rogers is staying. I don't know.
And you're obviously a big UFC fan, right?
Oh man. Move me on.
Do you do both on the site? Sorry, I keep putting your name, but on your website, do you do both boxing and UFC? And kickboxing. Yeah. Yeah, so he sparred together. I think one or two times, yeah, quite a few years ago. But they get on really well. So last night, Fury sent Aspinall a message, a video, telling him to knock him out, like flatten him. Yeah, so he sent him a video last night. So they've got they've got a nice friendship, so to speak. I saw it on YouTube, so he might have done it on IG. Was it on YouTube? Was it? Yeah, YouTube. Yeah, I saw it on YouTube. So it was quite nice. It was nice, and what was that? Was it? So I mentioned it. Yeah, it's nice. Who? Fury? No. Yeah, but he talks shit. He's constant. That's all he does. No, don't believe anything that comes out of this man. No, he contradicts himself all the time. Like 1 minute he'll say one thing, the next interview he'll say another thing. He plays with everyone.
Don't ever do that.
Oh, he's great. He's great. Dylan White. Yeah. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, definitely. Wembley Stadium. It's massive. Massive in the UK. It's like he's coming home. Coming home party. It's huge, and it's not as easy as maybe some might think. Dylan White's a good fighter. He's improved so much. Yeah, I think it'll be.
Very, very composed.
Oh, I didn't roll it. See, that's an easy question. Yeah. Andrew is easy fight. For Fury, absolutely just destroy him. But Dillian White's tough. He's tough. Dillian White's got a great left hook. Fury is a bit susceptible to a left hook. Don't know. And like Wilder obviously causing trouble because he can bang, but Wilder can't box. He doesn't know the art, he doesn't know the naughty side, the dirty side, Whereas Dillian White can rough it up with Fury. Fury always tries to rough things up a bit. That's fine for Dillian White. You would do exactly the same. So it might not be the prettiest fight, but I think it'll be a proper scrap. Brilliant. It was special. Yeah, it was.
Then everybody would just be like, pull out.
Look, he doesn't look well. Full of charisma. You just never know what you're gonna get. There'll be a good fight. It'll be a really good fight. We will be. It's a bit of a difficult one because the event is on BT Sport, so they're kind of like our rival. Yeah. it's like, but we need to cover it because it's so big. So we'll still be. Yeah, so we'll still be able to get press pass, and there'll still be a press conference here. So we'll still. I don't think we'll on the fight night. We might have a reporter there. We just obviously won't have the footage. We won't have the footage, no. So that's it. But we'll have, you know, they've just usually what happens, just use images. Not really anything else you can do, but it is what it is. You don't always have the rights to everything, so but you've still got to talk about it. It's too big a fight to just go, let's not give them the promotion. Yes. Yeah. Well, very much so. You here all day? Are you going to the fight as well? Great. Nice. Yeah.
And of course, yeah. It doesn't pack a lot of that. Yeah, he's a big boy. He's a big boy. Oh, yeah.
No, it's good.
Look,
it's not my, I'm not an expert in UFC. I enjoy it. I love watching the fights. It's nice to see like the proper experts, everyone else. So I sit and listen to the questions. It's great. We have a different angle, you know. It's ours is very newsy, so you know, Russia situation. Yeah. No. We are. Yeah. That's like. That's one of the biggest things, biggest stories really for us. The fact that it's a Russian fighter. So, I've got to leave in 15 minutes, but this poor lad is going to have that tough task if someone else does it. But, yeah, you know, I want to know what's he think about it. I want to know whether he had doubts that this fight was going to happen. I want to know whether he has doubts that while the war's going on, that his career might kind of have to be put on hold. Yeah. He might not. He might not answer, but we have to. Yeah, that's the. It's difficult. It's hard. It's hard. Yeah, we'll never be allowed back in Russia.
Yeah, that's it.
It's very, very difficult. I'm a little surprised that maybe anything isn't an ask on this. Don't ask on that. So yeah, but I wish it was me. I'd love to ask him. You know, it's It's not his fault. You've got to word it right. That you're not kind of, it's your country, it's your fault. You know, it's, yeah, you just got to try and find the balance. For us, it's important. It's important because, you know, we've been covering, you know, you look at Chelsea, the owner's been sanctioned, you know, you're looking at the Olympics. Now, he has not yet assets here. Yeah, his assets are frozen, can't do anything. So the government, technically the government owns Chelsea. The UK government owns Chelsea at this point. It's fucking
Look at your hands are all
huh?
Your hands are just like
Yeah. And he's escaped. They gave him like 2 weeks warning. So they gave him 2 weeks to try and like get his boats country. Yeah. Took as much as he could, yeah. And he's in, I believe there's rumors he's in Switzerland now or something, or Israel or something. I think he might be up. They've got it. They have Chelsea. The government have Chelsea right now. So the government, I don't know. Well, he won't get the money, but it'll be frozen. Whatever it's sold for, it'll be frozen. So he won't be able to access it. Pretty much. But he doesn't care. He doesn't care because he was talking about Chelsea owe Abramovich £1.5 billion, and Abramovich said, "Don't worry about it. I don't want it." Because he doesn't need it. Because he's got so much dodgy. We all think. I think people thought that when he arrived, but he was allowed to come in. Apparently. Yeah, apparently. Yeah. I'm not sure if I believe that. It's definitely very concerning, that's for sure.
No, I think Pat. I think he was in the Skype.
Yeah.
I think they got Patty. I think. No, I think it's just the St. Patrick. I think it's the St. Patrick Day. Because they wanted him to do it.
It's like a main.
Whatever happened over there. I don't know what he does.
Get it done.
Yeah.
Chances he doesn't, it's really good. He's not published.
Oh, maybe. Who've Leeds got? I'll check if they're even playing. Because on Saturday's FA Cup, so only, I believe it's only Sunday, 4 3 games.
Adam, so they offer him, they offer him a Dylan is still on. So we have basically our window to win is the next 3 years. If we don't. And they're healthy. So if we don't win the next 3 years, we're not going to be because this is the most talented year we've had. Everyone was out if we don't, and Bakhtiar no, 5 are never healthy at the same time. And then if Adams would be healthy, we lost a bunch of I watched every game. Badly. Dude, I'll call you every Sunday after the game. I'll just, you'll hear me just scream. I have to get a drink for my dad's family's because when I started talking, I told him I'd come to party with Irish. You can just see he's like, but he genuinely has it. He hates Irish Americans. We all play violence. I'm like, my dad's family is from West Indies. People in West Indies don't even claim West Indies. We get a pass. That's like the most that I was Ireland. Worst spots to go to in every county. There's nothing. Western, only one with nothing.
It's definitely a day.
I don't want to spend any more time. I just want to see where my my last name is coat of arms.
You could have went and got me something just so nice. There's something really close to you. I'll make you bullet points on what each person says. Wow.
I'm gonna ask Molly.
Your mic is hot, by the way. Somebody just tweeted me telling me they can hear every word you're saying. So don't take the track. And somebody's doing a live stream behind you, so just don't take the and then they were just saying just to let you know, just in case you well, in case you end up being canceled. That's when you need 2 people. How many of you are there? Like, what you doing it? Oh, you're the ringer, okay. I thought you were doing it.
So that's the Carol. It's controlling what I say.
How far is it from you? That's decent. That's decent. Close enough. Just do a gang up. So, because
There's lunch next door. Whenever you feel like it.
Right now, what's on the menu?
I mean, it's a buffet, so go whenever you want. You don't have to go now.
Any ETA on this?
So the Mackay won't be long though.
How long? The hard facts here, Vicky. How long do I have?
What's the window? It's like minute and second. I think it's going to be a few minutes.
7 minutes,
Coming
would
down
you say?
from the 14th floor.
Do I have 7 to 10 minutes?
You do not have 7 to 10 minutes.
Oh.
Is that how much you need to eat?
Yeah.
30 seconds. Go get a piece of cauliflower. Keep you
That
going.
window is too small for pizza.
I need to make everything back on the food. That's what I see it.
Make everything back on the food.
What did you look at here?
They're gonna, after the next guy, we can go grab him.
Oh, sorry, they're not right now.
If I wasn't here today,
What a banger.
What is a banger? That was harsh. Jesus. All right, Mike, don't mind them. Don't let these UK guys fool you. They've been doing it to Ireland for 800 years.
Exceptional British humor hours here.
Oh, chicken, that's right, like, what did we chicken? Get out of here.
She took the committee.
Because what my plan was, I was gonna load up all the food, and then just wanna like sit down and start eating it.
That's right, that's right.
Mohammed, right here. Just behind the camera. So 48 hours out from your UFC debut, big card in London. What are your initial thoughts? So close to the fight.
Hello. Feeling good, feeling excited. Got like a lot of fire in me, and just counting hours, to eat and smash this guy.
Well, speaking of this guy, Cody, specifically, you asked for him after you heard his comments after his last fight. So when you did get this fight announced, fight official, did you go and watch his tape? And if you did, what have you made of his skill set inside the octagon?
I actually watching this fight live. I always watch these flyweights and like bantamweights, and I actually speaking to my manager same time while we're watching. I'm like, let's get this guy next. Well, he was like, the fight was on, and then he made comments after interview. I'm like, let's destroy this guy. And also I like to fight somebody like old, experienced in UFC. This is his fourth fight. To instead of fighting somebody debut guys or on losing streak, like prove the point straight away and climb up the rankings.
Watching him in this fight, did anything he do impress you in there?
He's simple fighter. Like I believe I fought 5 times in 5 days in a row with different kind of fighters, best in the world. Back in amateur, and I believe there's some head, nothing special.
Have you run into him at the hotel?
Yes, I was in a lift with my coach, and I was going upstairs. He opened the lift. I think he was going upstairs too, because he's depressed, And I said, "You're still alive?" And you look at me, say hello, and he didn't go in, So that's a bad sign, I would go in and see. I'm not gonna eat him in the lift, You know what I mean? I just say like, just stay in touch with US Embassy, after the fight, so you get off straight away.
Then finally, I know you wanted to fight on this card specifically in London. So how has Fight Week been for you here in the UK preparing for a UFC debut?
Amazing. I came here early. I was in Bahrain for 3 months training camp at KHK. Like we had like strong camp. This is first time I had proper camp, to be honest, in my whole career. I used to compete like 2 weeks before in some wrestling tournament and 3 weeks before in grappling tournaments, and just turn up to fights, like professional fights, but not professional, So, but this is first time I've done everything properly. And I was actually in 2016 here in same hotel. My friend Rustam Khabilov was fighting in UFC London, so 6 years later I'm here on the same card,
What does this mean to the people in Wigan, Mo? Like, I mean, you and Tom, from Wigan, and 2 of the most talked about fighters in the lead up to this. Have you noticed a buzz? Have you heard from people in the city? Like, I mean, is it creating a big stir?
Yeah, in my school, I went to my school actually, and a lot of people actually tune in and watch. And also I train in Liverpool, like in the mornings and nighttime. I train in Manchester, and like all the Northwest, I have like huge support, and it's great to get people behind this sport,
Can you tell us about your relationship with Aspinall's father? What he meant to you on your road to being a professional MMA fighter?
Andy Aspinall, to be honest, my first BJJ coach. Like I trained with him about 5 years, since I was like kid, and Tom actually was teaching us on kids classes. I used to do the kids class, and then I go to adults class, because when I left that gym, Andy always stay in touch with me, and humble family. I wish only best to Tom and his family.
Does this feel like the biggest moment? I mean, you've been under the spotlight since you're a kid, and now you're in your UFC debut, but this one feels very big. You've got the eyes of the mixed martial arts world on you. Like, I mean, is the pressure getting to you at all ahead of this one? Has it taken on a new meaning ahead of your UFC debut?
To be honest, like pressure-wise, I think I've gone past this since my amateur debut. Like all it's always been like this, like media, traveling around the world. I think I visited most countries. I went even fought in Australia on my own without coaches. So it's it's not that kind of, the most pressure is in the camp to not get injured and make weight to be professional. But this is like this is part of the job I have to do. No pressure at all, you know.
Mo down here. Has this been everything that you've envisaged from the get-go so far, at Fight Week so far?
What do you mean?
I mean, has Fight Week played out like as you imagined, well, as you manifested and imagined however long ago before you thought, right, I'm going to get into the UFC?
Yes, it worked out perfectly. Since I did my professional debut, I said in 2022 I want to be on UFC London, and all my team knows this. I said, and they're like, let's do it. Depends how many fights we're gonna get in COVID times. And I remember like for the debut in Sweden, I couldn't fly, so I have to fly to like some European country and then get a bus, a 9 hours bus to my debut, you know, because I know I need to get. I know it's COVID times, but I need to get some wins to in professional game to get on UFC.
And how does it feel to be kicking off the UFC's return to London? I mean, I think it's a sign of the UFC's faith and what's the word I'm looking for, and they're noticing of the stock that you have.
It was like it's not about your record and stuff like this. You're based in UK. It's about your charisma, and you sell the fight, the views, the everything, you know. And when I put the finish on that night, UFC will give me top 15 guys.
Go on, cheers, man. And I know it's early days and you've actually yet to step into the octagon, but is the goal still to become the youngest UFC champion?
Yes, 100%, and I believe I can. That's why this opponent is good to get me like maybe top 15 guys, even if it's not top 15. But instead of fighting, like I said before, just like debut guys and who's on losing streak, better to fight like good name to get on the top.
Motion in front of you. I'm curious, I know you came to this country at the age of 12, I believe. When did you make the decision that you wanted to represent Britain and not Russia?
Since I came here, you know, like the way UK treated me, like from the refugee camp all the way till like I got my documents, the way they treated me, I came here with a pair of jeans and t-shirt, you know. So I always said I'm gonna represent this country, don't matter what, they give me the passport or not. And I'm competing in world championships without actually passport. And I had the choice to compete with the country.
And I believe you said in 2017 you were almost deported back to Russia. And then after, being signed for the UFC, you also got your British citizenship. So how crazy is it looking like back 5 years and now, you're a British citizen, you can travel and you're on a UFC London card?
Yes, in 2017 we got refused with the case, and my solicitor helped me a lot, you know. It was a difficult time for me. It was like, listen, I live here 5 years and now they want to send me back, you know. What this? Is this fair life, you know, or what? And I want to be some name. That's how I got motivated. I want to be to some different refugee than others, so they treat me differently, you know. So I can let the home office know that any refugee can be great example for the rest of the people who is coming here, and not just claiming benefits and sitting at home, you know. So I want to be one of the great example for the government also.
And finally, obviously you said you want to be a champion by the end of 2023, I believe. Have you looked at the top two of the division, the likes of Brandon Moreno, Davison Figueiredo, and just what your thoughts are those fighters?
Yes, they're all good, but I watch all of them, you know. I watch like recent fight Moreno Figueiredo. I can stand with him all day. Is at that stage is nothing like at the professional level stage of the fighter. It's not like they have some crazy skills, you know, that you don't know. You're going there, you know, he's gonna hit 1-2 low kick, takedown. So you just have to be mentally ready, you know, sharp, have good training camp without having some headache, you know. And then if you go in, you can't compete against anybody top in the world. So I don't see anybody special in that division.
Thank you.
Mohammed at the back. Right here. You All good. You know, we see a lot of fighters turn pro these days after 1 or 2 amateur fights. You have over 20 amateur wins. You stuck with it for a long time. I'm just curious, how well prepared do you feel you are because of that with these big fights now? And what made you stick around in the amateurs as long as you did?
I was gonna stay a little bit more amateur to become like 3-time world champion, make a history, but the COVID happened. So why amateur career is good? It's exactly same as UFC backstage. You got like media, you got weigh-ins, you have to make weight. Also, if you get knocked down, you're not competing next day. You know what I mean? Like injury free, making weight every day. If you don't make weight, you're out. You know, so it's it gets you prepared for the professional level, and showing up to the cage every day after fighting like decision fights against number one from each country, like Russians, like Americans, like around the world. Kazakhstan is like Bahrain. You know, there's like so many good countries competing against number ones. It's really difficult, but you have to get up next morning, make championship weight, and fight again without injuries. You know, it is difficult, but if you go past that stage, professional career, it's easier. You know, make weight once and then you fight.
I know you talked about wanting to be champion by a certain age, and we've seen that before with Macy Barber. Do you worry that you're putting too much pressure on yourself if you put a deadline on it?
No, I don't. What pressure from who? My team believes in me. My close people believes in me, and like if I have supporters who believes in me, and it's a journey. You know, there's not like a pressure. If I don't make till like 2023, I'm gonna be a bad guy. You know what I mean? So.
Thank you.
Mohammed, just at the back here. When you think about the fight with Cody on Saturday, how do you see it playing out in your head?
Round 2 finish.
And, you know, in terms of getting your hand raised, you know, with the crowd in London, how are you expecting to feel?
It's good that I'm early so I can walk out and see the people, my people who came to support me. Like, and I hope UFC will send me back to hotel after the fight so I can watch and support the rest of the fighters who represent UK.
Thank you.
Mohammed, Assalamu alaikum. How are you?
Wa alaikum salam. Good.
So you're just 21 years old and you've been through so much in your life. The guys have mentioned you came here as a refugee at 12 years old. Even last year you got married. I think it was last year you got married as well. There's something that's really stuck to me, and I thought it was really interesting thing that you said in an interview. You said that in school when it was non-uniform day, like you didn't really want to go into school because you know you didn't have the nice clothing basically to wear and stuff. And there's so many other stories that you have about your upbringing and those things, and it just makes me think, like at 21 years old, how do you mentally cope with all of that?
It is difficult, you know, very difficult. I'm responsible for whole my family, you know. I have to pay the bills. I have to do everything basically. It's a lot of. It's not just like fighting game. There's like there's life, you know, which is more important than actually. This is my hobby, you know, and going through this helped me to stay focused from like a lot of media now, a lot of sponsorship opportunities, like money getting involved, but that's why it helps me with my focus to remember how hungry I was, why I started this, and if I stop, this all can disappear and I can be in same hole again, you know what I mean? So I just want to stay focused till my family, you know, sorted for the rest of their life, and my kids as well in the future.
I know you said you want to be the champ within the next couple of years. Is part of the reason for that because you're only 21 years old and naturally your body is going to start growing and it's still growing at the moment. So is that kind of why maybe you've given yourself a little bit of a deadline too, because maybe in a few years time your body's just going to outgrow flyweight and you're going to need to move up to bantamweight?
It will grow. Most of my fights are bantamweight. Like this is probably my second fight in flyweight since 2017, to be honest. But I make it. I never missed weight out of 30 fights, and if it grows, we'll see.
Back on Saturday.
Thank you so much.
Mohammed over here. There you go.
Hello.
Hello, mate. Do you ever give yourself time to reflect on how far you've come in such a short space of time and what a journey that you have had to arrive here awaiting your UFC debut?
I do look at the back, like the challenges I went through. I'm looking like in the past I went through some toughness, and then like the closer, further you go in your life, the less challenges coming at you. Maybe because you got used to these challenges, and you start performing better, I believe, because the hard way you little bit done, and now you just concentrate on your performance, not about the life outside as much as you used to be. So, yeah.
There's a lot of talk right now with everything going on in Russia and Ukraine. A lot of talk about refugees and how many should be taken up in this country. Do you look at that and see yourself as such an inspiration to many that potentially are coming over here, and there is a life for them, there is still dreams that they can achieve?
I believe so. There will be a lot of refugees coming over now, and there's always been like from Afghanistan, Syria, there's Palestine. You know, there's a lot of refugees always coming, not just Ukraine. So I want to be one of the inspiration for the people, not just like kids, but for the old people. Like, listen, if you come to a different country with just one backpack, you're not lost, you know. So maybe like mindset, maybe it's something become better in your life. If I stayed in Russia, I maybe be working at the petrol station now, you know what I mean? So don't lose your hope, and just adapt to where you're at now.
And finally, for me, where do you get your strength from to just keep going?
I believe in God's power. You know, it's like whatever happens. Just have to move on. You know, you cannot sit and like this happened and I'm depressed. You know, like at some point in my life, you know, like age of like 12, when I didn't understand much in religion side, I was thinking like, why I've been created? Why is all this toughness coming? You know, like why it happens to me? And then I start learning more, and I become stronger.
Top man, good luck.
Any more questions? Yeah. Good, yeah?
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you guys. Have a good day.
Guys, there is some food next door. If you want to make your way, Corey will be 5-10 minutes, but